It's an honor to appear before you today, opening these days of democracy in action. Soon we will mark 15 years since the Treaty of Lisbon entered into force, a step change in the governance of our Union, which enhanced the European Parliament's role as a fully recognized co-legislator. Therefore, I appreciate that President von der Leyen wants to entrust me with trade and economic security, as well as interinstitutional relations and transparency. These elements are mutually reinforcing. As an exclusive EU competence, trade has been a true success story, turning our Union into an economic powerhouse with the largest network of trade agreements globally. So if confirmed as Commissioner, my overarching priority across all my duties will be fostering EU unity, including by continuously strengthening our partnership with the European Parliament, a partnership essential for the effective functioning of our Union. Because unity not only brings us better trade deals, but makes us better off, stronger at home and globally. A set of principles agreed by President of Parliament Roberta Metsola and Commission President Ursula von der Leyen to underpin the revision of the Interinstitutional Framework Agreement lays down a sturdy stepping stone on this path. From day one, I will roll up my sleeves and engage with Parliament negotiators to turn these principles into reality. Strengthened cooperation at its best. Honourable members, the story of trade is the story of civilization. Trade has always had a lasting impact on the world, and today trade has become a geostrategic tool. Our European Union is built on free trade between its members. Our commitment to opening up world trade is therefore part of our DNA. The EU accounts for 16% of world imports and exports, more than anyone else. Alongside 76 free trade agreements, the EU is a #1 trading partner for 54 countries, accounting for 48% of global GDP. Over 30 million European jobs are supported by exports. Put simply, trade helps the EU to prosper, including by enabling our clean and digital transitions essential for strengthening the EU's social model. But while just a decade ago, the EU and our main partners were largely aligned, today's international trade environment is marked by stark competition over disruptive new technologies and the weaponisation of economic dependencies. Given this seismic shift, my priorities for trade would centre around 3 Ds. The first D goes for driving the EU competitiveness. Trade as the external arm of our powerful single market remains vital, but a series of recent crises has led to a major rethink of supplier relationships. In the balance between economic efficiency and security of supply, the pendulum is swinging toward the latter. So if confirmed by this House, I will focus on opening new markets, notably by bringing key FTA negotiations across the finish line so that EU businesses can grow. I would focus on supporting EU investments in third countries, for instance, through stronger direct support measures, and I will focus on promoting the EU's approach to rules and standards, especially under our twin transitions, so that EU standards become global. Turning to the second D, defending EU businesses against unfair practices. Trade today is driven less by market forces alone. Unfair practices and state interventions are increasingly widespread, especially in the absence of a modernised global rulebook and dispute settlement mechanism. So it is time to double down on our efforts to safeguard the level playing field, and the EU industry must get a rapid and effective relief when faced with dumped or unfairly subsidised imports, non-market overcapacities or negative spillovers from foreign industrial policies. So if confirmed, I will make assertive use of our robust system of trade defense instrument while ensuring that our response is legally sound and everyone is on board. And I will examine the extent to which we need to review these defense instruments. My overarching message will be clear. Yes, the EU will continue to champion free and fair trade. But we will also be firm and forceful when our businesses get the short end of the stick. Now, the third D, deepening our alliances. The EU continues to have a strategic interest in supporting rules-based trade, despite current fragmentation. I see my prospective mission here as a twofold. First, leading efforts to reform the World Trade Organization, including by investing in the plurilateral track. Second, complementing our traditional FTA-based approach with more compact and agile trade agreements. This includes new clean trade and investment partnerships to help us ensure that raw materials, clean energy and clean tech flow freely while supporting the industrial development our partners seek through enhanced EU investment. Honourable members, the transatlantic bond is the most natural for us. The EU and the United States account for 29% of global trade. We enjoy mutual investment of 5 trillion euros. Undoubtedly, it remains advantageous for the EU and US to work together rather than against each other. So regardless of the outcome of the US elections, I will put forward an offer of cooperation, including a revamped EU-US Trade and Technology Council, and at the same time I will be ready to stand up for our interests if faced with disruptive scenarios. Turning to China, our third biggest and most challenging trading partner. We need to rebalance this relationship around transparency, predictability and reciprocity. This means being more assertive in challenging China's structural imbalances and unfair practices, such as non-market policies driving overcapacity. We need a level playing field. I will also advance our de-risking strategy. We cannot afford costly dependencies, old or new, nor will we tolerate coercive practices from anyone. Moreover, I will contribute to developing a strategic EU-India agenda and strengthen our economic links in the Indo-Pacific region with Latin America and Caribbean. I will also work with African partners to facilitate trade and promote sustainable investment. Here I want to make an unwavering commitment. I will always engage with this House on agreements in the making, in a forthcoming, thorough and factual manner. And I will never sign off on a deal that is not in the EU's collective interest. As many of you know, this is not an empty promise. During this mandate, I have always kept you abreast of major developments in our relations with the United Kingdom and Switzerland. And I will strive to further consolidate EU relations with our Western partners, including the European Economic Area, given our shared values, not least after the return of war to European soil. Mesdames et Messieurs, le commerce est un composant déterminant de la puissance économique de l'Union européenne. Et sans puissance économique, il n'y a pas de sécurité économique possible. C'est pourquoi je partage la vision de la présidente von der Leyen, selon laquelle nous devons mettre ces deux piliers sous un seul et même toit. L'Union européenne se vit exposée à la weaponisation de nos alliances économiques. Notre stratégie de sécurité économique est conçue de façon à mieux comprendre ces risques et à trouver un juste équilibre dans les réponses politiques. If confirmed, my priorities will include enhancing our understanding of risks, especially in relation to critical infrastructure, technologies, supply chains and dependencies, deploying risk mitigation measures by developing, revising or making use of our tools such as foreign direct investment screening, export controls or outbound investment. This includes the work on the new economic security doctrine outlining the strategic use of our autonomous tools. And I will also focus on improving the exchange of information and potential responses, as well as on designing joint economic security standards for key supply chains, in particular with G7. Economic security will require deepened engagement with the European Parliament, Member States and all stakeholders, and I will work towards strengthening governance in this area. This brings me to the EU's customs policy, which holds significant weight in both trade and economic security. If confirmed, my priority will be to see the comprehensive customs reform done and dusted, ideally under the Polish presidency of the Council. Establishing an EU customs authority, followed by an EU customs data hub, a state-of-the-art engine working 24/7, will be a game changer. It will fully integrate customs data, providing us with a complete picture of goods entering the European Union. And it will save up to €2 billion annually in operational costs. Given these benefits, I will throw my weight behind advancing the start date for this new customs authority from 2028 to 2026. This would help us to address e-commerce challenges, in particular in line with the European Parliament's opinion. But we want to aim even higher, towards the most profound modernization of our customs policy, because as a key enabler of cooperation, as well as a first line of defense against risk, it can be a key driver of our strategic autonomy. Honourable members, we can make a real difference provided we all work together. And this is particularly true in interinstitutional terms. And if confirmed, I wish to build on what I consider outstanding cooperation with this House. I began today by highlighting the revision of our interinstitutional framework agreement, a compass guiding our action. And in this context, I will continue strengthening Parliament's right of initiative under Article 225 of the treaties by enhancing the Commission's follow-up to corresponding resolutions. During this mandate, I have made sure that the Commission keeps President von der Leyen's promise by responding positively and promptly to all 24 parliamentary resolutions that required a response. This was thanks to our joint efforts to foster understanding on substance and a sense of collaboration. Going forward, I will continue to uphold the principle of equal treatment of the Parliament and the Council, especially through the timely flow of comprehensive information. I will also engage with fellow commissioners to ensure their presence in the Parliament to strengthen our joint political responsibility. This includes providing comprehensive justification on the exceptional cases where Commission proposals are based on Article 1 to 2 of the treaties. In the spirit of our special partnership, the Commission will also facilitate progress on the right of inquiry by seeking the best way to break the deadlock with the Council. Turning to transparency, an essential ingredient for fostering citizens' trust and a principle to which I fully subscribe. It is our institution's duty under the treaties to conduct our work and take decisions as openly as possible, while maintaining regular dialogue with the civil society. Therefore, if confirmed, I will use the opportunity of the next year's review of the interinstitutional agreement on the transparency register to perform a fitness check. And I will engage with you closely during that process. In the Commission, we will strengthen the system by extending the requirements of the transparency register to all managers. As the Commission's prospective representative in the new EU ethics body, I will contribute to defining minimum ethical standards. This body is a milestone in our institutional landscape, and I am ready to work jointly to make it a success. Honourable members, today holds an emotional element for me. Next week we will celebrate 35 years of freedom in Slovakia, following the Velvet Revolution. I often say that it is this experience of growing up behind the Iron Curtain that has made my work for United Europe a passion, an honor and commitment. Ukraine's heroic fight for the very same freedom adds a sense of urgency to that commitment. I assure you that in me, you will always have someone who is committed to build bridges, to seek solutions and to defend our union's values and interests. Thank you very much.